Hey everyone, I got a video for you today about a 1994 Lowe 1720 restoration. I found this boat in Quebec and it was the best deal I could find anywhere within 4 or 5 hours of myself. So we went up and got it, brought it down. So this video is going to show a full strip down, take everything off it, everything apart, and basically put everything new back in and how it turned out. I've only got it partially stripped. The side panels and everything come off quite easy. The carpet's all coming off quite easy. There's like everything works on it. The motor is a 97 Suzuki 75 and right now it's not going over half throttle, but that could be just a carb issue. I'm not overly worried about that because I mean it's a Suzuki, so it should be good. I picked up a different console for it down in that box. It's from Great Lakes Skipper. It's off a Lowe Stinger, and it's gonna be a bit of a trick, but we'll get that on. We'll put the foam around the tops and probably here, paint the floors. We're gonna go with mainly white, gray, and blue. I'm just gonna work away at it for the rest of the summer. So I got the floor off and the console hung up here and stuff. You can see where the seat's set. This old plywood, she's pretty juicy. Quite wet right there. And I just started into the foam, and like, just looking at it from the top, you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't look too bad, but see right there already. She is juicy all the way through. So it's probably got at least 400 or 500 pounds of water in here. And the reason why I noticed it was I was watching the YouTube video actually about somebody that was doing this, and he said that on warm days, if the side of your boat sweats, you know it's holding water, and that it will corrode your aluminum over time and stuff. And where this boat's 30 years old, it's definitely due to get done. I'm slowly making some progress. I got those two done and this one done. I'm quite sure there's going to be some under the floor up there, but it wasn't overly wet in the two front ones. But once you get back to here, she's definitely pretty soggy. So I didn't want to have to do it, but I think I'm going to have to take these here side panels off and take that off maybe. Try to get underneath there because there's foam in the back for sure, and I know that it's wet. So anyway, there's no fast way to go about this. And I found one of these here pig toes, whatever you want to call it. It's a ball joint separator. I find it works half decent because you can get right down, get into it like that. And it's a good enough size that it'll take chunks out. Having some different size chisels would be handy. Screwdrivers are okay, but they're not quite big enough, like they're not wide enough on the end. So, but yeah, this here does the trick. And then chisel kind of finishes it up. But you can tell it needed to be done. This was under the one of the passenger seats, and she's rotted pretty bad. So you wouldn't think sitting underneath the floor, but they're obviously, if it's 30 years old. Getting pretty close to being done. Just a tiny bit there in the front. I just wanted to show you the last little piece here in the back, like how much water there is. I don't know if it's bright enough or not, but she's pretty juicy there. You can see like there'd be half an inch of water sitting in there probably. Some of these bags I took out, I'm gonna have to probably double or triple bag them because they're quite heavy. So I got all the foam out and everything, and just went to the local Kent, and they had DuPont styrofoam there, 1 inch, and the bottom piece between, like right in there, is 1.5 inches, and it worked out pretty good. And then the rest of them on top are all 1 inch, and the 1 inch fits in perfect along the edge right there. It comes off nice and flush. So I'm just like, there's a lot of sheets you can see on the bottom, the big sheets, and then just to try and get more surface area for where the floor will go down and meet the styrofoam, I want to put just any little scraps and pieces down in so it sits good and tight when I rivet it down. I don't want any squeaks is the thing I'm worried about. So anyway, this foam should work fine. I'm actually getting a lot more in than I thought. So anyway, I'm just gonna get this done up, and when it comes time to get the boards in, or like once I get a couple of the pieces of plywood in, then I'll probably do another little video here. So I got the boards down. I ended up having enough plywood just laying around. So I'm not going to drill out the 3-inch holes for the seat bases until after I put the aluminum down. But I've just got a couple more pieces of foaming to put in there and there. And then what I was doing was stuffing some of that underneath just to make sure everything's good and tight. And then, yeah, next step's putting the floor down and then putting the console down. I did take the time to wire up a bilge pump for the front. There's one that came with the boat. For some reason this doesn't drain that good down through. I don't know if it's because the gas tank's in the center and they didn't leave enough room like down underneath, but I always thought too it would be good, like if I ever had an issue with the live well here, it would drain straight down right to it. So I don't know, I'll put the floor down, then I'll get one of those 6.5 or 6-inch access covers to put there. So I put a whole can of seafoam in it and sprayed a can of carb cleaner through it, and then didn't do it, so it probably needs a carb kit likely, so I think I'm just going to take it somewhere and get it done here soon. Right now I'm just taking the vinyls off, the old stickers, that side, and I got this side pretty much all done here. It's all off. It makes quite a mess. It's a slow process, but and then I put that console back down, but I'm gonna get that changed and started doing some of the wiring, trying to tuck it up in. Still got a lot to do. Bought some of that tubing just to kind of clean it up in the back, and the rod locker wasn't quite long enough. I have all 7-foot rods, and you could only get about a 6-foot rod in there, so cut that out with an angle grinder. I got some rubber, like edging, to go around that from Amazon. So at least that way you can get 3 or 4 rods in there. And I'm going to take the shelf out in the bottom, so I'll have lots of room in that. Probably get a net in there and everything as well. So anyway, that's just the progress I've made so far on it. I don't know, I got some new wrap for the outside of it, so I think I might do that next. Once I get this all off, I'll get it sanded up and everything. I don't know how easy that's going to be. I've watched a pile of videos on it, but I don't know, I guess I just work away at it real slow and try and take my time, try to get it on right. So I used a razor blade, or like a window scraper basically, to get all the decals off. I took them all off, but you can kind of still see the glue and stuff all down along it. So what I did was I started rubbing some of this here paint thinner on it, and it kind of softens it up some. And then I just take the razor blade again. This one's kind of getting all busted up. I ordered some more on Amazon. They should be here in a few minutes, but basically it just softens it up, so then you can go back over it again and get like another layer off. It's just a bit of a job. Doing around the rivets are definitely a little difficult. So I ordered some parts. Got an Atwood sprayer head for just an aeration. You can see, I can't really tell, it's a little bit dark, but I put the stainless steel screen on it. Little pump there, 800 gallon per hour it says. Doubt if that's what it pumps, but it's a 3/4 inch hose, real easy to hook up. And then it's just because the back was too low in the water line to do a through haul drain or overflow. The factory ones, the back one, if you're sitting stationary, water actually comes in, so you either got to leave the plug in. And I'm not a fan of the tubes, because if you have a big striper in there, they knock the tubes out. So I'm just going to run plugs in the bottom. And like I said, the recirculate in the back acts as an aeration. This here, I can run the fill pump and it will just drain right out the side. That'll work fine. And then front bilge pump. Probably don't need it, but it's there. whatever, hooked it up, run it through the hall. Shouldn't be too bad. And it's above the water line enough, so it should be okay. So I've got the side of it prepped. I just lightly sanded it and then sprayed it off with brake clean, wiped it down, and put some knifeless tape on where I want the cuts to be. And then we'll hang the wrap on and see if we can get it started. So I just have it all set in place with painter's tape. That's how kind of it's gonna look. And we're gonna start at that back corner and see how it turns out. So we got it on last night. I just got to do around some more rivets, but it's definitely been a challenge. Some of those are about the best I can get, which is not really that great. I managed to get around those 3/2 decently, but and I also learned that using the heat gun around them isn't really the best. It's almost better to do it cold, because then it kind of stretches out and you get these wrinkles, and I have no idea how I'm going to fix that. I guess that's what I get for trying to do a boat for my first wrap job, but I know I wrapped some fairings on a crotch rocket I had once, but it was only like a foot by a foot, so doing an 18-foot boat's quite a bit different. So anyway, it's gonna look nice. It's just a few imperfections in it, I guess, but that knifeless tape works pretty good too. I was just playing around with it here on the corner. Just grab it and pull it down. It cuts through pretty good. It's gonna stop probably right there, yeah. Oh, don't want that to happen. Careful with that. Pull that off after. That's how the back of it looks. Probably go over that again. But yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. Quite a learning curve. The other side will definitely go easier. One thing I did find is that I didn't sand it enough. So I know I gotta really sand it good on the other side. But I like it more than a paint job, and it's gonna be quite unique. Shouldn't be anybody else around with one like it, so yeah. Nice straight cut. Alright, so we've got the wrap and stuff on here, and now I'm trying to get this console on. So that's what the new console looks like. It's nice because this here carbon fiber looking piece, actually you can come out and then you can just take something to make that hole bigger. But for now, I'm just going to put my old fish finder on. Probably not going to bother getting a new one until next year, just because there's so many other things to do to this right now. But it's nice because it fits in there nice and clean. But the only problem is that this old one was a tad wide. Now I've got this beat all two pieces trying to get it to work, but I think I finally got it to a spot it can be. I had to set it out a bit for some reason because it didn't quite want to go back in. Without the carpet, stuff doesn't line up 100%. In order to get this nice and flush to the bottom, I had to move it out an inch away, or 2 inches probably, which is fine because that's all going to be covered anyway. But now, see, I've got to put this bracket on here. So I took an old piece of aluminum off. This was all aluminum here. I should have taken a video of that before. But anyway, taking that off. So now I'm going to put it on here. Just rivet it on. Give it some support. Then that way that can fit on here. And then we can continue on with the wiring. Because once this wiring's done, the only thing left to do is put the cabinets back in. And get some paint on it once it gets sanded down. So it's coming together. It's just this is going to be a big hurdle here for a bit, trying to get this all perfect. It looks terrible, but it don't matter because the console is going to be over top of it. But anyway, so I just finished up taking the rest of the carpet off the panels, and the plan is to scrape them off and then sand them with just a little palm sander. I got a bunch of cheap pads for it off Amazon. They're just Chinese junk, but I'm just going to plow through them and we'll get it done, and then I'm going to try and get them primed. And then that way we can, once they're primed, put them back in the boat, and we'll get her back together real quick. I found the best thing to use for scraping the old glue and stuff and like the remnants of the carpet is just an old paint scraper. I've tried pretty much everything. A chisel worked fairly decent, but it wasn't really quite wide enough. And this here seems to be just the right amount. It's not too wide because I was using a putty knife and it's a little bit too wide and can't get enough pressure on it. But this here seems to be just the right thing for that. It scrapes right off. I mean, you don't get it all, but you'll get, see, like you'll get the majority of it. So like that's not bad. There. And then that way it's just a little bit less to sand. I just want to sand it just to rough it up and try to get some of that old, I don't know if that's more glue or what the red stuff is, if it's a type of primer they put on or what, but it doesn't seem to come off very easy. So that's what they look like after they got primed. I'm putting them back in. I just finishing up a little bit of wires here and there for like the nav lights, and I'm going to do some interior lights too. So it went back on better than I expected, but for some reason right here it was tight. I thought it'd be more loose because on the bottoms the carpet created probably almost a half-inch gap in some spots. You can see there's a gap. There's a gap down in there. Now there was a gap here, but for some reason from the manufacturer they had a plate in there to take up the gap, so I just drilled the 4 rivets out and slid the plate over, and I just gotta, my battery died, I just gotta put some more rivets back in, so it took care of that. And I ordered some marine sealant, I think it's called, from Amazon. It's supposed to be sandable and paintable, so well, I put some RV tape in behind some of the seams, and then if I put some of that on the outside of it, maybe I can sand it and then paint it and you won't even notice. So it's still kind of messy, but anyway, coming together quick now. Okay, so we got some foam on the sides. Not very happy with the way the seams line up, but I do have some gray caulking I might be able to fill that in with. I'm not sure, but put some cup holders in. Starting to get her tidied up a little bit. Ran out of foam, so I had to order another one, but that's kind of what it looks like as a disaster here. Did some of the caulking, just getting it ready. I want to get some paint on it here by the end of the week. I spent a lot of time doing this. I took the old bracket off because I wanted to put that shelf back in. So I had to put a hanger there. Had to take, actually, the shelf that was in there had some angle on it. So I cut it up for supports. And she's solid as could be there now. Like I could jump on that and sit on it and everything. So I'm pretty happy with that because it was pretty sloppy and floppy before. But she's all level. Looks good. The console is going to sit right on there. Everything's going to work out perfect. So, like I said, just getting it ready for paint. Once the other foam gets here, we can put that on. And then she's got to go to the mechanic. So I've got 2 coats of paint on it. I've got the foam on now all the way around. Yeah, the cut edges don't look that great, but there's trim that goes over it. Now everything went fairly good, but the only problem is I don't think I primed it enough. And you can see the paint has a weird tone to it, almost like a peach color that I'm assuming it's from the glue that was underneath that didn't get fully sanded off. But I think this 3rd coat should pretty much cover that up, because I mean I've seen a huge difference between the 1st and 2nd. So anyways, she's coming along. I'm probably gonna have to do about 5 coats of paint though, and then I'm gonna have to put some of that traction paint on too. So it is what it is. I'm just giving it lots of time in between dryings, keeping a fire going in the garage. So I've made it to this point. We've got almost all the trim and stuff done. I ran out of rivets again, so I'll have to pick some more of those up Monday morning, but get everything in place. Looks like it all lines up good. I figured I'd redo the motor, so get that all done up. Use the wife's Cricut for that. So finally, after having close to 650 rivets and having worked for 4 weeks at this, plus whatever I did last summer and fall, I've got a lot of sweat and blood into this, a lot of hours into it. But overall, I'm happy. We had to wait another 2 weeks to get a carburetor vent hose from Suzuki. But it's all back together. It's back in the garage. We can finally get it out and take it for a rip. And this is how it turned out. Put this measurement sticker on here. It's handy because it's got the QR code for the regulations. It's got the slot limit size for the stripers here. It's the old live well. Still gotta rinse it out, but see, it's there. It's the biggest one. I guess looking back, I should have maybe made this all into one big live well, but no matter what you do, when you're done, you're always going to find stuff that you wish you did differently. I still need to get another battery in there, but we've got the one for now. I put the locks on it too, so if I wanted to have it sitting out somewhere, I can keep my rods and stuff in there. You can see there's lots and lots of room now. I've got a net in there. I only got 2 rods in there right now. Put that rod holder there. Put a Sony deck on with Sony Marine speakers. It sounds half decent. Put the lock on this one here as well. This here, I just siliconed in place for now. It'd be easy to just to take out someday. Probably next year I get a bigger one, I'll be able to cut it out, fit it in, and all the switches, everything works. Steering wheel, everything turned out nice and tight. And this is the front of her, lots of storage in there. Storage here. Whenever I put my motor on the front, the front trolling motor, I'll have to put the batteries in there, so it is what it is. It'll take that pretty much all right up. And then we've got the other live well here. It's quite a bit smaller than the other one, but I mean, it will still serve a purpose. Access there for the hoses and stuff. Access there. So yeah, very happy with how it turned out. Now the next thing is just to get this on the water. We got it too late in the week this time to go up, but it's too bad because today looks like it's a pretty nice day for up there. But anyway, we'll be able to get up there next weekend and get into some fishing and hit her hard for the next little while. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This has been quite a project. I think if I was to do it again, obviously there's stuff that you do differently, but I'd say overall, the total cost of buying the boat, driving to Quebec to get it, taxes, everything, I've got probably 10 grand into it, and there's no way you could buy a boat that would be upgraded like this, because all the wiring, everything's new now, and like I say, everything else is brand new on it now. So anyway, like I say, I'm happy with it that way, and I should get quite a few years of use out of this. So again, thanks for watching.